Well guys, I have some updates on the truck. A few big updates actually. First off, decided to try taking my truck up to our cabin up in the Jemez last weekend. Got about 20 miles outside of the town there, and friends who were following behind me said I was shooting sparks from one of my wheels. So got to Cuba and I found this and hub. I don't know, the wheel bearing seems to have let go. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but just trashed everything. So it's the locking hub gone, axle shaft I think is probably gone, bearings obviously gone, race is gone. Hoping the hub is still fine along with the rotors and pads. They look fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this wheel and tire off here. I already got a new spindle. I'm sure the spindle that's in there is trashed. I've got another axle shaft I pulled a while back. It's a 30 spline inner, but the outer on it's fine, so I'll swap the outers. I haven't got new bearings yet, but I'll have to do that. And of course I need to see about trying to find one locking hub. It's gonna be a bit of a pain, but hopefully the junkyard has one. Alright, I'll go get working on this. Alright, as you can see, definitely the only thing holding that on was the calipers. Let's go ahead and see if I can manage to pull it off, even though there's still a bunch of junk trapped in there. We'll see. Well, actually looks like the axle shaft might be okay under all that molten aluminum there. Pulled the rear seal and bearing out there because there is still one of the locking nuts on there. It doesn't look like it's on there straight. Looks like it's just kind of hanging on there. Well, we'll keep pulling it apart. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't get the remnants of the locking hub out of the wheel hub right now, though. Still, the outer part of the hub, locking hub, is totally seized into the inside bore of the wheel hub. Let's see if I can't knock it loose. Yep, that bearing's spun. I mean, I'm gonna need a whole new hub now, I guess. Trying to decide. I know last time I was looking for 8-lug hubs, I couldn't find any in the junkyard. They're just a couple of days ago, and they did have a 3/4 ton truck with the 8-lug hubs on it. So the other big news for the truck, it's time for an LS. Picked up this 01 5.3 liter with a 4x4 4L60E for $300 the other day. Had to spend another $100 to get the wiring harness, computer, that power steering pump, and alternator over here. This is a 05 plus alternator, the 145 amp, which is kind of nice. But I do have a complete wiring harness. I already finished cutting that down, so it should be good to go. Picked up a couple of MAF sensors here. That first one I'm going to return. It's a little beat up. The second one I got good shape. Got the throttle body. Now these two, the MAF throttle position sensor and the idle air control valve. Now those two sensors seem to be gone off every single engine at the junkyard. I don't really feel like paying $120 for an idle air control valve. So I did look around. What I can tell, these two are off of a V6, a 4.3 liter. And they were the only ones on any yard in the entire GM section of the yard, which we've got a pretty big junkyard here, so it's impressive. But I picked up these two off of V6. Throttle position sensor, from what I can tell, is exactly the same one. I looked online, parts seem to be interchangeable. Now the idle air control valve, on the other hand, that's not the case. The plug here exits at a different angle. I'm not sure about, let's see if it'll see in there. The plunger, I'm not sure if it's long enough. It doesn't look like it. I mean, it might not be fully extended right now, but I'm not certain it's actually capable of plugging off the air path there. That's still got quite a ways to go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and have to clean this off pretty well. Let's see. I also have fuel injectors like crazy. Got one rail there with the full set. The return line's been damaged, but I do have another of the driver's side rails with the return and crossover tube. That's okay. I've got another actual rail as well there. I've got 9 coil packs, so hopefully I've got at least one good set. And I've actually got a whole mess of injectors in there. There's another 8 injectors in there, I believe. So at this point, the only thing I'm actually missing is I still need a starter, which those seem to be one of the first things to go from the junkyard. And I need the gauge cluster. I actually want to want to run the factory gauge cluster. It'd be nice to have a matching speedometer and tach and all that stuff. It all works. That old square body style stuff is finicky at best. I have nothing but problems with that speedometer. So I also did decide I'm going to keep EGR. You know, these 01 motors, they had EGR on them, and I figured out what the hell, I'll go ahead and run EGR. So I'm going to actually go ahead and start working on pulling the whole front clip off this truck to put this engine in. I got a lot of cleaning to do in the engine compartment there. I'm going to pull out the old motor, transmission, transfer case. That's the other issue is, obviously with the 4L60 here, I need a VSS, which NP208 does not have. Now I'm curious, I'm going to try. I picked up out of a driver drop NP241 this tone ring, and I got a couple VSS sensors. And from what I could tell looking at pictures, it kind of looks like speedometer cable drive gear. The spline section of that looks very similar to the spline section of this one. Still, I'm going to pull the tail housing off of my 208, see about slipping that on there. If it does fit, I'm going to see about trying to position that VSS sensor somewhere in the tail housing of that 208. I looked for one of the passenger drop 241s out of a Suburban or Blazer, you know, in the 90s. I have one built in already, but they're definitely not common. I've been having a hell of a time finding one, so figure I'd go ahead and try using what I've got. Well, I got the new spindle and axle stub shaft put on. Took a bit of work to get the other one off, you know, with that big ball of aluminum that had been melted on there from the locking hub. I had to take a grinder and a chisel to it to get it off, but I finally got it all off, pulled the whole thing off, got the backing plate off, and pulled apart the axle shaft. I changed the stub shaft from the other shaft I have onto this one. And this is all I got for now. I'm going to have to go to the junkyard and pick up the other 8-lug hub, but it's just sitting like this for tonight. Hopefully going to get to the junkyard on Saturday. Going to have to change the ball joint also, actually, if you can see. But I'm going to rock that almost a good inch, so ball joint on the bottom is definitely going to have to get replaced. So I'll post another update after I get some more parts.